Jim Klauck, aka Check a Pro Joe, here on the Check a Pro Radio Show. I love what I do, bringing home improvement experts to you. A question's come into the radio program, and it has to do with your chimney. So I've asked Jeremy from Ember Keepers to join me here on the program today to answer the question. Jeremy, how are you?
Very well. How's Jim?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for asking. One of our listeners has asked, how often should I have my chimney cleaned? And I imagine that's going to be at least once a year, but I bet it depends on the wood that you burn and how frequently, how long your burning season is. What's the answer to the question?
Um, so honestly, it depends on how often you burn it, what kind of wood you're using, how seasoned your wood is. So there's a couple of different factors for sure. I think the most important thing is moisture content of your wood. 15 to 20% is what is recommended. Species of a wood is very important too. Hardwoods, oak, but certain parts of the country, that's all they have is things like pine. And so really it depends on how much you're burning, how well you're seasoned. But typically what's recommended is an annual inspection, and then followed up by a sweeping if necessary.
Yeah. And at least for me, in my fireplace, I have it cleaned every year, regardless. But some people will go years, and I don't know if it's because they're lazy, they don't want to spend the money, but it's dangerous. It's just not a good idea. You got to get it inspected and probably cleaned out. Now, as part of the inspection part, what would you be looking for? Because not all flues and chimneys and fireplaces are built the same, because some are actually old. They actually have mortar, and some don't. They have like a metal tube, right?
Yep. And so, just like any other trade, we have codes and standards developed by, certain associations, for normal open masonry face chimneys. We follow the guidelines of the NFPA 211, not to overly complicate things, but they make our standards.
Sure. Sure. And you follow those.
Yeah, we follow those. And then if, like you said, it's just the tube, really that is the installation instructions, and the manufacturers have those units tested and listed. And so they hold, the installation instructions are what we go by there.
I would imagine, I'm just guessing. So you've got the, metal tube. I'm not sure if that's actually what you guys call it. What is that material made of? Is it a galvanized steel or something?
It's typically stainless steel.
Stainless steel.
Nothing that rusts should, be in there. So
sure. So I would imagine the creosote wouldn't be as sticky on that as it would be on brick and mortar, because brick and mortar is more porous, and it's got, it's not smooth to begin with. Am I right on that, or is that not true?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I mean, more modern chimneys, like the all fuel chimneys, very smooth on the inside. They also have corrugated stainless steel liners. A little bit more attaches to that. And then you have the terracotta flue tiles of a traditional masonry chimney. Really, honestly, it depends on your burning practices, how good you're doing it, whether it's getting enough oxygen into the stove or the appliance.
Wow. Yeah.
How seasoned your wood is. So it's a lot more nuanced, but definitely annually, mainly for insurance purposes, making sure you're ready to go for the season. And then if you burn a lot more than that, say 4 cords, you might want to consider maybe twice a year.
Sure.
So,
absolutely. Jeremy, as always, thank you so much for joining me today on the program. I appreciate your expertise.
thanks. Thanks for inviting me.